Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My next step is to make some kind of battery boxes or battery trays or something to mount the batteries. So after I got done welding everything and painting everything, which it's just a rattle can, it's no big deal, but I started thinking about maybe mounting the batteries like over in this area right here. Where's my one? I think I have one right here. So basically my plan was to maybe mount a battery like this, okay, and then maybe mount another one back here. But what I was actually thinking was, this is not really long enough. I need something to extend it a little bit more. And again, I was already done welding everything, so what I thought of real quick was to make up some little plates. And that's what I actually have hanging right there on the corner of my garage. So I had painted them yesterday and they dried, but I think also they, what happened was I forgot I left them out overnight, so the paint was a little messed up. So I just sanded them a little bit, just gave me, this doesn't have to be a perfect job, but basically what I did was I made these two little brackets, and basically one for each side, so they're different because the way this motor's sitting, it's not exactly like centered in there. As you can see on the other side. So the other side really doesn't have much of a plate left over. All my stuff's dropping, it's okay. But anyway, so there's not much of a plate on that side. So what I plan on doing, those are the two brackets I made. So like I said, I had to recoat them, so I gotta let them dry a little bit. I'm not sure if I can get to them today. I'm hoping to, but that was my plan. All I really did was I just welded some studs on the bottom of the brackets, just some cheap little brackets I just cut out. And basically what that'll do is it'll extend this side on this side and on the other side. So this way the batteries will have something more, instead of like being on the edge and teetering, this way they can stick a little bit more and have a nice flat spot. And I figured maybe some kind of clamp on the top of them to keep them together in a way, or I'm not even sure yet. Again, everything I do is kind of hit or miss with me. It's like a play-by-ear thing. But anyway, so that would be that. The other thing that somebody asked me a question about a relay or something else, about if this is, if I need to use relays and everything else. Well, there's a couple different ways you can probably do this. The one way is I do have, and I had this laying around. I bought this for another project and I just never got a chance to use it. But what this is this is a DC to DC controller. Very cheap. You can get them on Amazon. This is the numbers right there, if you can see them. They're made by a lot of different people. This one is 10 to 55 volts, 60 amps max. I don't think this thing is drawing anywhere near 60 amps. It's 350 watts. I'm not sure what the table or division is, but it's maybe, I'm going to think maybe it's drawing, even when it's got under the most pressure, maybe 12 amps possibly. I don't even think it draws that much. But I'm going to put a meter on it actually and see what it is drawing so I'll get a better idea. But you could use something like this as a controller, DC in, DC out. As you can see, power in, power out. Now, I think this has an RPM gauge. I don't need that. And it also has a forward and reverse switch. I don't need that. And it also has like a potentiometer. And I don't really need that because I'm not controlling the speed. It's just going to be on one speed. So I don't really think I'm going to go it that way. And then somebody else was asking something about a relay. Well, do you need a relay for this system? Well, if you're going to use, it all depends on what you're going to do. What kind of switch you're going to use. I temporarily, as you can see, I was using this circuit breaker as just a switch. So basically all I was just doing was using it as a big contactor, pushing it on, turning it off. Now again, this is 300 amps. This is way, way overkill. This thing would never even come close. So I'm just basically using this as like an on and off switch, which is not good because eventually after a while it's going to destroy the contacts inside by opening and closing. It's not really made for that. It's made if it hits 300 amps to blow. But I have another one of these 150 amps. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. Again, I'm not even going anywhere close to that. But I'll probably put one of these just as like a big fuse, just to be on the safe side. And then I'm not sure what kind of switch I want to do. Now, if you want to use some kind of switch, is like a micro switch or something, you can do whatever you want to do. But then what you would need is you would need a relay. Now, you can buy these on Amazon. This is the standard type of relay that they make for most situations. Whenever you're going to use it, you can get a plug for them. And again, they're cheap. I mean, you get like a 5-pack or something for like maybe $10 or something like that. So this way it gives you all the numbers. But you have all these colors. What do they mean? Well, I did a quick kind of drawing thing just so you can see like maybe an extended. The relays have numbers, and all the numbers on the relay mean something. 85 and 86 is going to be your power. These two are what controls the coil and the thing. So pretend this is a switch. Pretend you want to, or pretend like this is like a little light bulb. Forget about these right now. Forget about the center terminals, okay? And pretend you got 85 and 86. You can give power to 86 or ground to 86. You can give power to 85 or ground to 85. And what this is this takes a lot of power and makes it so you can use a tiny little wire switch, something that you would not normally, as soon as you would use it to something like this, it would burn right up. But the way this works is 87, 87A, and 30, okay, even though these are supposed to be the pins, it's like the lines of the pins. But anyway, what 30 does is 30 would be your output, okay? 30 would go to whatever control, whatever device you're using. So let's say I'm using this as in my motor. This 31, which on this thing would be red. So that would go to, say, if you want to say red of the motor or something, okay? Now, you have 87 and 87A. 87A and 30 are always connected together, okay? It's basically the same, except when you give power to these two. As soon as you give power to 85 and 86, then this opens up. And now 87A and 30 does not have power anymore. Now it's 87 to 30 that jumps over. So basically, where's my pen at? Basically what it's doing is you're going to jump over the power. So meaning that normally, let's say you want to do something where you want to have a basic starter kill in your car, where you just disable the starter. Nobody can start it unless they say hit the brake pedal or turn on the rear defroster or something else. I used to do them all the time. I used to own a car starting alarm shop. But anyway, what you would do is 87A and 30 would always be connected to the starter. And then when you gave power to 86 and 85, okay, it would jump over and now they would lose the power. So you wouldn't be able to start and everything else, and as soon as you get power, it goes back. But normally, this 87 right here, which is, it can be your positive in, okay, this would be the positive out. And then what it means is, now a lot of times, the way I use them, I usually use everything as a negative trigger. Meaning what I always do is I'll just jump the power part, usually 87 and 86, out to power, okay? And then what I'll do is, this one right here, the 85, would just be a negative trigger off a ground or something else. As soon as that sees negative, it's going to turn on with the positive, it's going to switch over, and it's going to turn power from here to here. And what it's going to do is basically meaning that if you had like a little tiny micro switch that couldn't handle the power, well, that little micro switch has no problem hitting this black wire, let's say. So if this was the ground, so meaning if I hook this up, in fact, I can do this temporarily real quick. To give you guys a better example, let's just say, what are we at here? All right, so in this relay, it seems like white and black are the 87 and, let me do it this way, are 87, 86 and 87. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting all confused now. It's 85 and 86. So here's a battery right here, okay? Let's just say we want to use these two right here, okay? Again, we have power hooked up all the time, which is over here. And now if you listen, as soon as I hit negative, you're going to hear a click. I don't know if you can hear that click or not. That is the relay coil turning on and off. And what's happening now is, And I guess the easiest way is, let me grab a, see if I can find a test light real quick. I should have been a little more prepared, but. Alright, so let's say that, alright, this is a test light. It's one of those just digital ones, so I don't know if you can read that or not. Let me move this up a little bit. Alright, so that's saying like 12.9, whatever it is, 13.1, who even knows. Anyway, if this had power on this side, let's take these two together. Let's take blue. And so basically what we're doing is we're going to tie 87 and 86 together. Get this together. Okay. So let's just say they were the positive. I wish I had a, I should have had Elliot because it makes it easier. But let's just say they're positive, okay? That would mean that right now you have nothing on this red wire right here. Nothing coming out of the red wire. In fact, what I'll do is I'll try to go up to the test light on the red wire so you get an idea of what it does. Alright, so it's already, the test light's already grounded, and I'm going to give it power. I can try to get it out of here. So, yeah, I'm not really prepared for this, and I'm not really a good teacher, so bear with me here. Anyway. These two are power, and then we have this one, which would be the ground trigger. So if you take those two, and now I have power now you would have power coming out of the red one. I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you see the meter? There you go. Okay, in frame there. So now I have that. Now if I let go of the black one, I lose it. Did you hear the click? I lose it. So basically it's like a mini, consider this like a light switch to control up to, they say 40 amps. I've never really, so yeah, this says 24 volts DC, which I thought they were all 12 volts, but yeah, 24 volts DC, 40 amps, 30 amps, it's plenty. And so if I wanted to use a tiny little baby switch, all I need is a ground and then pass it through this black wire, or yeah, the black wire, that would be the ground one. It just so happens it's black, but that would trigger on and turn your circuit on. Hopefully you can understand that. I'm not a great teacher, but that's basically the way a relay would work. And to maybe give you another idea, let's just say, so what I did right there was I had these two together, 87 and 86 together. That's my positive. The other side is the negative. That's the trigger. Okay, so whatever power here won't go past up here until you give negative to this, if that makes sense. And vice versa. 87A and 30 is always connected, except when you give power, now this loses a connection. So now you don't, now it would be broken. So a lot of people use them for starter relays, other things. When I was younger, I built a remote start with 4 relays. Some diodes, some different electronics. All my friends laughed at me, but I had a remote start before they even made them in my car. I think it was like back in '85 or something. Even no, it was before that. In fact, my car was carbureted, and I used one of those door trunk servos, or the lock servos for a trunk that opens and closes it. I used one of them to control my throttle on my carburetor. But anyway, back to this. Will I use a relay in this? I honestly don't think I need it. I can if I wanted to. Again, it depends on what switch I'm going to use or where I'm going to use for power. I still am kind of confused on that. I did add a little battery monitor here. You can see it right there. And it's one of these cheapies from Amazon. As you can see, everything I try to get from Amazon. But it's a basic little unit. I already programmed it. Just one of these. Nothing crazy. But basically, I programmed it for 24 volts. I'll see how well it works. A lot of people complained about the display. You can't really see it. I don't know. Inside here, obviously, you can see it. As soon as I get in the outside, I probably won't be able to see it either. So I was honestly just thinking of just wiring it up with maybe like some kind of little like either a push button switch right through here. You know, I have room back here. Man, I wanted something to where I can control it when I'm not on it. Let's say I want to move it or something else. And I also want to be able to reach it when I am on it. So I was thinking of maybe, like I said, I could have done something really simple, like this little switch right here. I could just like put this, maybe mount this somewhere here. The seat's not going to move. There's plenty of room underneath to put the wires and stuff like that. So it's a little push button on off switch. You know, or I could do a key thing. I'm not really getting in, trying to get too crazy involved with this. I just want to kind of get it done because, like I said, I'm getting surgery in the 24th of September. I'm not going to be able to do anything for a while, so I want to kind of get this completed before that time. I just still have the cylinder in the front I got to mount, and then I got to go to my lathe, and I'll probably videotape that because I got to make up spacers and everything else. I got to make up a new pin. One of the pins is bent. And other than like just, you know, maybe touching up the paint or something, it's good for the it's ready to go, and I'm very happy with it. I think, and I'm not exactly sure what this hydraulic pump, the output power of it is. I think, and don't get me wrong, I thought it was 2 gallons per minute possibly, but I could be completely wrong. Again, it's not a big pump. As you can see, you know, it doesn't really, you can turn it by hand. Now, I don't know if that's because it's weak maybe. For all I know, it could be like going bad or something else, and maybe it's not supposed to be that easy, but it is for this one. So anyway, and let's see, how's my paint coming on these things now? Yeah, it's drying up. Yeah, it's not too bad. I might be able to use them. So yeah, basically that's all I did, was just made some little plates. I just painted them, nothing special. One for each side with bolts. Because again, I didn't feel like welding again and doing everything else. So I had to, unfortunately, I egged out the holes a little bit because of my welds. But let's see what side this one is for. And hopefully this should make it a lot easier. Like I said, putting a clamp or something up there for the batteries. Trying to get this tape off. I usually try to make it easy for myself. Alright, there's the other one. Now looking at this one, I think this one's the other side. Let me get some lock washers and some regular washers. Yeah, this one. So I just got some like lock washers and other washers. This one's for this side, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then I'll put this over here. Put these on top of the battery for now so I don't lose them. Here's the other one. Alrighty. Here. We're just having a hard time getting tape off in this one. It's like the last one, I just can't get that tape off of there. Tape's sticking better than I thought it would. Alright, come on tape. This isn't funny now. See if I can take it out from the threads. Alright, there we go. There we go. Alright, where's the... There it is. I had a wrench for this. Of course I didn't mark which way this goes, but I'm sure it's only going to go in one way. Alright. That way or this way. Alright, that's kind of sitting maybe better that way. That's flush. I probably should have put a mark on here. It would have been a lot easier. The other side had no problems. Yeah, I think it goes like this. I'm going to call it that way for the win. And what I'll just do is put a... Oh, sorry about that. We'll just put a washer. Oh! Washer and then a lock washer. And this way these will sit up here nice. And the funny thing is, I mean, I painted them just so they match, but it really doesn't matter because you're not going to see them anyway. Come on. I don't know if I need to put any kind of like a, covering on there or something. I mean, again, all this did was just extend the batteries a little bit. It made it a lot easier for them to fit now. As you can see how the bracket sits now. So basically, I don't want to put it on there because I think the paint might still be wet a little bit, but at least it gives us some room now. So it'll sit on there nice and flush like that. Sorry you're not seeing that. And I'll be very happy with that. Yeah, see, it's got all dirt and stuff. Keep that off for now. And same thing with the other side. To the other one. I'm sure if you're going to be able to see much. Not that drop lock washer. I think I had an extra one in my hand. Okay. One side. And then the other side. Okay. This thing keeps moving on me. Why is it doing that? All right. Yeah, like I said, it would have been a lot easier to just weld these to begin with, but I wasn't really sure where I was going to put the batteries. And then also, yeah, if you ever want to put the original gas motor back on, because I still have it, I'm not throwing it out yet, I just don't want to use it. It might be an option for some, you know, some people are old-fashioned, they don't want to have to charge something, do whatever, because I figure I'm just going to use it this year, and then next year it's going to be sold. So I'll sell it with the battery and the electric motor, or honestly, I can take all this stuff off, put the original, you know, gas motor on there, and be done with it. So, all right, next step. Now there's still a little, yeah, they're not completely dry, and I'm scared if I put the batteries on there now, they're gonna glue themselves in. I'll never be able to get them off. It's all because I did paint them yesterday, but I had a little bit of an issue, and I left them outside, forgot all about it, and I came out this morning and there was bugs and everything on it, and I was pissed. So anyway, there's that side, and here's this side. So and I also made up, I made up like little caps too, if I can find them. Yeah. So I have a lot of like ABS plastic sheets and stuff like that. You know, you can buy this stuff on Amazon. You know, you can get big sheets of this stuff. In fact, here's one of the numbers in case you're looking for it. If you can see that right there. You see that number? So this was a big sheet. Was it? Yeah, it was a 12 by 12. So basically what I just made was a couple little caps. Just grinding them so they fit into the plastic, into those squares where the wires are going through. I may just put like what I was thinking about doing was basically, because there's really nothing to hold them together, I figured I could run the wires through, but at the same time too, like I could put like one bolt together, a long bolt, so it basically just bolts itself to each other, just like a cover plate. You know, it's only for where the wires are coming out and stuff like that, right in here. So just like a little extra I did. And yeah, like I said, I also did a battery monitor. So I guess my next step is to really think about what switch I'm going to use, where am I going to put it. Boy, let me see. But now that it's mounted, let me see something here. Oh, that was the other piece, right? Okay. Yeah, this was another piece of it I had. I mean, it's really nice stuff. You can get it in different thicknesses too. This is the really thin stuff, so. But it's nice because you can make like little panels or slice it, and you can little project boxes, whatever you want to do. And like I said, I'm still thinking about what to do over here. Now, I keep saying about drilling a hole over here because this seat's not really going to move at all. It's pretty much going to stay where it's at, the seat part. So, I wonder if anybody has any suggestions. Where would I put do I want to put a key? I don't want to put the switch back here because if I got to shut it off in emergency or something else, and I also got to get a seat belt for this thing too, because I've seen some other people that, you know, that these seats are pretty slippery. You probably want to stay on it a little bit. My other thought was maybe something up here. I have like little tiny black project boxes, and maybe, you know, mounting something next to the battery gauge there. Yeah, these little like project boxes. I had started to do one. This was for another project I was starting to do something on, and I just never got a chance to use it. But they're like tiny little ones. I got a lot of them in a box. I think it was like 6 of them for a couple bucks or something. Real tiny inside. But honestly, it would be fine if I like just put something like, you know, on a switch or something over here. But I think that's just not going to look good. I don't know why I keep doing this, but I keep looking back to over here because I figure on the side of the seat I'll be able to reach it and flick it on and off. You know, I'm not sure if I was going to go get one of those like key ones at Harbor Freight, or like I said, just a push button on and off. I should probably get a key one. Not that it really makes a difference because they're so easy to bypass. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to go crazy. I think I'm honestly probably just going to do. I'll probably just end up using this switch right here, you know, with a couple wires, and what I'll just do is I'll use the relay. I'll use this as a negative trigger. I'll use a relay. I probably shouldn't have to because I'm sure this is probably rated for 100, 8 amps. I don't think I'm drawing more than 8 amps. In fact, let me grab my meter real quick. Let's see what we are drawing. Let's just put some batteries on there. And let's see. All right, for the time being, I don't need this. No. Yeah, don't get caught either. Those ends have power. Yeah. All right, so let's do this. Let's see about putting this on here. Hook up a couple batteries, and then we'll put an amp meter on it and see what we're drawing. Now, again, I have this as reversed, so the red is actually black. Where is it? I'm all discombobulated now. Where's the other one? Okay, there's one of them. So let's just say we'll make it easy. We'll put this one as positive to negative, which is probably stupid. So that's negative, which is really going to be the positive. And then we have this one that we'll put over here. That's the negative. Now this one's actually, I think I'm going to change this because this is going to screw me up anyway. But yeah, this one's the black, which is the negative part. Okay. And then I had this other wire. What did I do with that one? The jumper wire. There it is. Okay. Okay, that should be all hooked up. Sorry about that. I keep moving you. Alright. So now we have a switch and I'll probably mount this thing somewhere around here too. This is all waterproof, so that's fine. That can go out, and I can you know, glue it, double stick it. I can even drill into the frame. It's no big deal. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get. You know what? I'm going to have to take this thing off because I'm going to have to get to the probably the positive one. Come on. That should be enough, I think. DC amperage. Now, just remember you can have an AC and DC current draw. So, all right, let me see if I can do this where I can get these up like this. See if you can see the motor there. Can you guys see that? I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Okay, so let's turn it on. Let's see what we're drawing here. So right now you see it's nothing. It's just graduating. As you can see now, that's right. Black is actually positive. Positive is actually negative. So let me see if I can keep that on there. Let's see what kind of amperage we have. There you go. Alright, so we have 7 amps just running. Okay. 7 amps just running. I'm going to pick it up. Wow, it does go up to 30 something. Look at that. I'm surprised. Yeah, look at that. 57. Wow. I was wrong. 16, 17 amps when you're under power. Okay. Yeah, 58. Okay. So wow, I was really mistaken. I did not think it would draw that much, but I'll tell you what, that shows you right there what kind of power this thing has. This stupid little, well, I shouldn't say stupid, I should say this tiny little powerful motor. In fact, I'll take some measurements for you to show you. It is not big at all, you know. See this? You're talking maybe, what, 3.5 inches by maybe the footprint is maybe, I'd say 5 inches. That's pretty good. That's really good. And again, this is just all from this motor right here, this little hydraulic pump. And as you can see, it rests. That's actually 0.85. So it's just receiving just, you know, normal, just fluttering current. But so just at idle has a bulk power of 10 amps, and then it's about 7 amps. And then when you use something that has some kind of power to it, you go up to about, yeah, look at that. Okay. Very, very impressed. Very. Wow. Okay. So it does draw a lot more amperage than I thought. That's a little shocking to me. But anyway, it just goes to show you that size really doesn't matter. I mean, it's comparison to, you know, this motor to the other one. So, all right, well, these are still a little wet, these plates I made, and I don't want to, you know, I mean, I guess I can put them on, but this thing's already running a little bit longer than I thought, so this video. I think I'm going to end it now here and possibly tomorrow, which would be, today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, get up early and get the battery part done, figure out what I'm going to do for a switch, and this way that stuff will all be completed, hook up all the wires, do all the electronics, and then the last thing I just have to do is the cylinder, and you know, I might rebuild some other cylinders, or I might buy another few other cylinders, but for right now, I'm going to keep it as this. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and hope everyone is safe and well, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks again for watching. Take care.